Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. There has been a lot of people over the last year or so who have been moving to Portugal. It has been one of the most popular places, and to a large extent, that's for good reason. I've talked before about some of the things that are attractive about it, and I've gone through various different of the programs. However, it's not for everybody, and the thing that I want to specifically talk about today is the consequences for Americans and why, if you're American, Portugal might be a particularly bad place on a relative basis for you to go to, at least if you're looking for various different benefits. So, a little bit different than what people are commonly talking about, but we're going to discuss it today. Before we do that, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the all notification bells. Really appreciate your support. Thank you for supporting us. And if you'd like help with international tax optimization, asset protection, forming companies, opening bank accounts, getting residencies, relocating abroad, getting second citizenships, etc., all the things that we help you with here, please reach out to me. You can book a call, calendly.com/Michael-Bronsmer. There's a link in the description below, or send a message through our websites, offshorecitizen.net and offshorecapitalist.com. Okay, so the perspective that I'm going to bring here is really from the tax standpoint. All right, so part of the problem, I think, is there has been a narrative of how Portugal has these tax incentives. And certainly those tax incentives are not necessarily as good as sometimes gets advertised. Some people I'll run into seem to say, oh, Portugal has no tax or whatever, which is not true at all, right? There's certain specific types of income which are not taxed, and the other income is. There's certain favorable tax rates on certain types of income, and the rest is taxed. This being said, for Americans, it's particularly bad because there's a mismatch between where Americans can get benefits and where Portugal offers you benefits. So let's start from the American perspective, right? What are the advantages as an American of moving abroad? First of all, you can get the foreign earned income exclusion. So this is about $110,000 a year tax-free, and it applies to earned income. It's worth noting that this is not applicable to investment income or unearned income, okay? So very, very important to understand that right off the starting point. Second of all, you're in a situation where you can more reasonably benefit from having a foreign company. Normally, you can still do it if you're in the US, but because of source income rules and permanent establishments and things like this, setting up a foreign subsidiary and benefiting from a lower GILTI tax rate than the normal tax rate is something that you would typically, it's an easier thing to do if you're a one-person team or a small person team, okay? Now, this doesn't overlap at all with the Portuguese way of doing things. So in Portugal, under the NHR, you pay 20% tax on earned income, and realistically then you add on socials, so it ends up being quite a bit higher. You can use the simplified regime. I've mentioned that in a previous video, and that's usually more effective actually than the NHR. There is tax-free dividends if they're coming from non-blacklisted countries, right? You're in a situation where you can benefit from no tax on royalties. You can get lower taxes on pensions, 10%. And these are kind of the main things that you would tend to get. Well, what's the problem with this? So let's say that you're an American and you want to lower your overall tax burden, and you decide to move to Portugal. Well, you can't, if you try and get the foreign earned income exclusion, you gain really nothing, right? Because normally you would have paid tax in the US on that earned income, and now you're paying Portuguese tax on that income. So it doesn't really matter that you get $110,000 tax-free because you pay the higher of the two taxes anyway, okay? So there's not really any benefit in that regard. On the flip side, if you were to earn dividends, which is often how we structure things for people in Portugal, you would end up paying no tax from the Portuguese side, but you're going to be taxed on the US side. Similar, if you're in a situation where you say have crypto, right? Crypto is on certain circumstances not taxed in Portugal. Well, the US is still going to tax that. So the overlap here doesn't really work out well at all. Further, if you were to, let's say, set up a company in Malta, which would be a common thing that people would want to do in Portugal, right? So you set up a Maltese company. It's like lots of groups kind of sell that direction. I don't think it's the best direction in most cases, but it's what they sell. You're going to maybe come to 5% tax. So you say, okay, great, 5%, that's good, right? I get some benefit before I pay out a dividend. Well, the problem is if it's a controlled foreign company from a US standpoint, now you're paying an additional 10.5% tax typically. So now it's not really attractive anymore. Now you practically might as well just pay the regular US corporate rates and flow funds through there, which you can do, but you don't really gain anything, right? If you pay the US corporate rates and then you earn money locally. So in that sense, it's just all around not a good match for Americans to consider going to Portugal. Now, there's lots of other reasons to go to Portugal, and I think one of the things that's worth understanding is you can take advantage of, for example, the Golden Visa, which is one of the best programs in the EU. I would say maybe because of the fact that it can lead to an EU citizenship, it's one of the best programs in the world. But that isn't a tax advantage, right? That's just, hey, listen, I can park some money there, I can get a residency permit, that can have some advantages for me, I can work towards possible citizenship in the future. Similarly, you may find that you love the lifestyle in Portugal. That's perfectly reasonable. If you think, hey, listen, Portugal is a wonderful place to be, there's a great ecosystem, lots of cool people are coming here, the weather's pretty good, we like surfing, all of that's a perfectly legitimate reason, and that's regardless of where you're from. So this is specifically from a tax standpoint. From a tax standpoint, Americans almost certainly shouldn't go to Portugal, which raises the question of where should they go? And typically the answer is you usually want to go to places where you can end up with no tax on earned income. That's usually the best thing for Americans, because if you can end up with zero tax on earned income, then you can get the full benefit of the foreign earned income exclusion and benefit accordingly. So anyway, there's a variety of those places. We've done videos on them before, and I'll maybe do some in the future. I hope it helps. I hope it gives you some different perspective. If you have questions or comments, please put them in the comments below. If you would like the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, share it on social media, whatever. Really appreciate the support. Follow me on Twitter @MichaelRosmer, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you on the next video.